Hello, my name is Reuben Brown and I work for the Metro Atlanta chapter of the American Red Cross. In the spring of 2008, severe weather had a major impact on the state of Georgia, as storms wrecked lives and damaged property in several Georgia counties. In fact, the severe weather season was punctuated by a tornado, which dropped down in the heart of Metro Atlanta, wreaking havoc from one side of the city to the next. Now, all this goes to show that Georgia is in fact vulnerable to severe weather, which is why we're going to show you how to be Red Cross ready for the 2009 severe weather season. Now, I'm joined by Sarah Hicks, who's going to join us today to give us an example of what you should include in a disaster kit. How you doing, Sarah?
Fine, thank you, Reuben.
Well, I know that the disaster kit is a very important part of an overall disaster preparedness plan. I'd like for you to share with our viewers if possible, first of all, why kits are so vitally important, and secondly, how do they build these kits from the ground up?
Well, thank you. Kits are vitally important because during a disaster, you need to be able to grab a number of items that you might need to survive or increase your comfort level throughout the next several days until help can come and you can start your recovery.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be able to get those items fast before any other danger arrives.
Sure. Now, you say several days. Is there a certain time frame that you need to have it prepared for, a certain number of hours, days, or?
We try to make sure that people are ready and their kits are prepared for 72 hours or 3 days.
Gotcha. So when you talk about disaster kits, I notice here that you've a pretty lightweight kit. Is the idea here to have a kit that's not unwieldy, that doesn't weigh 1,000 pounds, something that's really lightweight and portable?
Definitely. You want to be able to grab your kit and run down the stairs or run to another area in your house to your safe place for whatever disaster that might be.
Gotcha. So what are some of the examples of some of the things that we want to have in that kit? Could you go over that for our viewers?
Sure. One of the things that you definitely want to have, of course, is a flashlight, and you want to make sure that you've also got batteries for it.
Sure.
You don't want to store those together, in fact.
That's a big problem for my family. I know that I have flashlights, and I put the batteries in the flashlights, unfortunately, and on occasion, my kids play with the flashlights, leave them on, and when I'm ready to use them, they don't work. So that's a good idea. Great idea.
So you also want to make sure that you have food and water to sustain your whole family for 3 days.
Okay.
So we suggest a gallon of water per person per day.
Wow, that's a lot of water. How do you manage that?
Well, for some people who we know might not be able to carry all of that food, all of that water in their kit, we might suggest them making 2 kits. Store, the food and water in one section, and then the rest of your supplies, clothes and flashlights and such, in the other kit.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense, perfect sense. Now, I've heard that in these kits, it's important to have medications. Could you go over that for our viewers, please?
Definitely. You want to have medications still for about 3 days, so if you take any essential medications, you could just stick several pills in a bottle and put it in your kit so you'll be ready to go. Every time you refill your prescription, just rotate those pills right on out.
Makes perfect sense, yeah. About the food, we mentioned foodstuffs. I mean, of course, food, you got to have that for survival. What kind of food should you put in there? Is it going to be, bread? What is it going to be? Fruit? What do you put in the kits?
You want non-perishable food items. So canned food is very good. But don't forget a can opener. You want to make sure that you have a manual can opener to go along with your canned food.
That makes sense, perfect sense again. Now, I notice here that you have a weather radio. Now, I've heard that these things are important as well. As a matter of fact, I've heard stories of people who have used these radios basically to save lives, to save the lives of their families, individuals, because they give an alert. Could you go over that for our viewers, please?
Sure. A weather radio is just key to getting information if a disaster is coming. It stays silent all the time, and then as soon as the National Weather Service might issue a tornado watch or tornado warning, the sound alarms and alerts your family. So if you're not watching the TV, you can still get the message that there's a tornado warning and you must move to immediate shelter.
Got it. Where can you purchase these radios?
You can purchase them pretty much anywhere, grocery stores, but the Red Cross also sells them. You can go to redcross.org online.
Okay, great information. One last question now. I'm looking at the things that you have in this kit, and it looks at first inspection like there are quite a few items in here. Is it expensive to put this thing together, or can you do it over? How does that work? Do you purchase it somewhere? Can you do it yourself? How does that work?
It's not very expensive. You can buy a pre-made kit for convenience,
Mm-hmm.
but the majority of the items you probably already have in your household as well. So you can just gather those kinds of items up. You may need to purchase additional things like food to put in your kit, but you can do that over several weeks of groceries if need be.
Okay, okay. Any other information you want to share as far as the kit is concerned? Any important information?
No, it's so very important to have that kit and be ready to go in case a disaster happens.
Okay, that's good information, Sarah. Thank you so very much. And thank you for joining us. Be sure to join us for the next segment where we're going to show you how to be Red Cross ready for the 2009 severe weather season. Until then, stay safe and be well.